Hey, welcome to Building Stronger Men. I am Dracon, your cool uncle that wants to have those conversations that you can only have one-on-one in your living room. Today, we are going to talk about something very important, something near and dear to my heart, your word, or rather keeping your word, what it means to keep your word, the effects of not keeping your word, and, if you have been a person who don't keep your word or your word doesn't matter, how you can rebuild on that and hopefully get to a place where your word is kept and your word is respected. First off, all praise to the Most High God, but let's jump into it. So your word, what is your word? Your word is directly tied to your honor and to your integrity. Without it, I think no man can prosper. And I think with it, every man is unstoppable. So what is your word? Your word means whatever you say you're going to do, you do it. That's just a simple, quick take on it. Whatever you say you're going to do, you do it. That's it. That's where it starts. That's the building blocks. That's the foundation. Whatever you say that you're going to do, you do it. Now, for instance, what about someone who doesn't keep their word? Let's just imagine that for a second. Let's think about that. They're a joke. They get little or no respect. People usually don't want to be around them. And if as a man you lose respect in your household, then there goes your leadership and your wife and your kids' heart. If your wife and kids or people in your immediate surroundings can't respect what you say, and they shrug off what you say as just kind of a passing fancy. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Yeah. Okay. All right, Dad. Or your wife is like, yeah. All right, honey. That's cool. And they don't believe it. You have a problem. If your girlfriend doesn't believe it, if your mom doesn't believe it, those people who are supposed to automatically believe it, if they don't believe it, you have a problem. Your word has to mean something, brothers. Your word has to mean something. Now, when I was younger, my father, at the time, his word meant nothing to me. And it caused me a great bit of humiliation. He called me a couple summers. I think I've told you guys the story because I didn't live with him. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to fly you out and you can hang out the whole summer. So I'd walk around the house looking all cool, got my chest out, excited, just like a kid, thinking about all the stuff that I'm going to do when I get to my dad's house and how we going to have fun that summer. And I never hear from him again. And he wouldn't fly me out. And that happened to me about 2 or 3 times until I finally said, whatever. And I realized that this man, to me, loved himself more than he loved me, at least. So it was a cause of great pain and a lot of rejection because my dad didn't keep his word. And he didn't even call back and apologize and say something happened or, only let it happen once. No, like I said, it happened 2 or 3 times. And I know that had to have hurt my mom because she was really connected to me. We were really close. But that's the devastation of what not keeping your word can be. And it can be in little things. If you can't be on time, open your eyes, brothers. If you can't be on time, why should I trust anything you say? If every time you set a time for something, you're 30 minutes or an hour late, why should I trust anything you say about anything? Because time is a passing fancy to you. Our agreement means nothing. And even on a deeper level, brothers, why should I believe that you know Jesus? Why should I believe that he's the way, the truth, and the life if you as a person, as his ambassador, as his representative, cannot even keep your word? So it's bigger, brothers. It's big. It's so huge for us to keep our word. If you can't do the chores that you're supposed to do at home, whether you're a child, whether you're a husband, and it always falls back on your wife, why should she believe anything? See, it's just very important. Your word is quite important. In fact, the Bible talks about oaths in Matthew chapter 5. It talks about oath, and it says, don't swear an oath, and all that you swear, make sure you do it. But at the end, Matthew 5:37, it says, all you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond that comes from the evil one. And I kind of get what it's saying, because con men, their word doesn't mean nothing. But at the same time, they depend on you believing their word so that they can scam you out of something. So when a man comes to you and he gives these great heaping words in this story, I swear by the Lord of heaven and all that I own and possess, I will do what I said I will do. That right there is a red flag to me. But a man, a woman, a child, if you say yes, you're going to do it, that's supposed to carry power. And if you said no, you didn't do it, that should convey power as well. But it all comes in what you have done before that, your history. Don't be mad at that woman because she doesn't trust you. Don't be mad because everybody thinks you're a joke. Your word means nothing. You know? Don't be mad that people don't respect you. Man, I don't get no respect out of here. But you tell your kids you're going to do this, that, and the third, and you plop down and watch the football game. Or you never end up doing it because of work. Your word has to mean something. And I get it. We're humans and things come up. And if that's the case, you respect and honor your word so much that if something comes up, you call that person, you contact them some way and say, hey, I apologize. But can we switch this around? Can we do it tomorrow? Can we do it later tonight? Something came up. Don't just shrug it off. Oh, well, I'm sure they understand. No, you call, hey, babe, I know I said we were going to do this tonight, that, and the third, but I have to work late. Let's reschedule and we'll be on it tomorrow. And you better darn sure keep your word tomorrow. Don't expect that, oh, yeah, people will understand. No. Your word has to mean something. And if you cannot do what you said you're going to do, you need to make some kind of amends. You need to reschedule. You need to make some kind of attempt to show them, hey, I'm not just blowing you off, but actually this has happened. And here, let's reschedule. I think people will respect that because most people understand. But for you to say you're going to do something, then it never happens. Your integrity's lost. You have no integrity, and people will stop trusting and respecting you. Are you wondering why people talk behind your back? Probably because you have no respect. And once you've lost respect for somebody, it's easy to do and say anything to them. And as men, this is where the rubber meets the road. We can talk about theory, but this is the actual application. Your word has to mean something. If you say you're going to do it, you have to do it. Don't rely on, well, things come up. No. That's whack. Do what you said you're going to do. Integrity. Now, my stepfather, I remember, it's a story. I've never had more respect for that man than I had that day, and it built up some respect. But I remember the story he told after he came home from work. He was driving, and I don't know if it was dark or something, but he knocks somebody's side view mirror off. He knocks somebody's side view mirror off. He parks the car, gets out of the car, and he goes door to door. This is integrity, brothers. Door to door, seeing whose car it is. And I don't know, but it sounded like he went 4 or 5 doors, right? And somebody finally comes to the door and he says, hey, I hit your car. And I don't know what happened, but they exchanged numbers or whatever, and the man allowed him to fix it. I respected that man so much because his integrity, which is directly tied to his word. So now if he says he's done something or he says he hasn't done something, I automatically believe him because he has a high amount of integrity. And I never used to have that kind of integrity. I remember I had a girlfriend and she wouldn't believe what I would say. So she would say, hey, put it on your mama. And I would say, man, I put that on my mom. But I'd still be lying because I got to say extra instead of yes or no because my word didn't mean anything. And I said, yeah, I'll put that on my mama. But it wouldn't be true. I'd be lying. So I'd run into the next room and I'd repent like, Lord, please protect my mom. I hope nothing happens to her. But it came to a point that she didn't respect my word. So she needed extra coverage just to believe what I'm saying. Okay, so that was, and after my stepdad told me that story, it's funny how integrity and standards teach. Like a couple years later, the same thing happened to me. I knocked off somebody's side view mirror, just like he did. And I got out of the car and I went door to door to see whose mirror it was. And the guy finally comes to the door and he thanks me and he allows me to go buy the part and he attaches it himself. Your word and integrity is tied together. And because he set a standard of integrity in that household, I had more integrity later. So if you think your word doesn't mean anything and it's not bothering nobody, your son is going to be just as slimy as you are. Your daughter is going to bring home a slimy guy just like you are, because your word doesn't mean nothing. Because you would rather floss, you would rather stunt, you would rather do something else than keep your word to your kids, than keep your words to your wife. You'd rather spend all day ignoring them when you know that you should have your word and go play ball with your son or go do what you said with your daughter or go do something with your wife. You'd rather do what you said you weren't going to do. Oh, yeah, but I just got to chill. I just got to relax. Brothers, keep your word. Now, if your word means nothing, if you've reached a point in your life with your wife or your kids where your word means nothing, first of all, go to her and apologize. Hey, I'm sorry. My word hasn't meant nothing. I will try my best to keep my word from now on. And then start, brothers, by keeping it in the little things. Start by keeping it, by being on time. Be on time. Wash the dishes if you say you're going to wash the dishes. Mow the lawn. You know, that kind of stuff has to matter. That kind of stuff has to matter. And over time, as you perfect the little things, the big things are going to mean something. And see, here's the thing. Once she knows that she can trust your word, your kids know that they can trust your word. If ever any kind of doubt appears in your life, like some situation that makes you look bad, people will then give you the benefit of the doubt. If you say, man, I did not do it. People will say, well, he pretty much keeps his word and he's pretty honest if he says he's going to do something. So he probably didn't do this. So it means something after a while. It protects you from later kind of troubles when you tell this woman, I didn't do this. She's going to be more apt to believe you. And keeping your word protects her heart. It gives your wife great peace, because she knows she can just ask, and what you said you're going to do, it's taken care of. It brings peace and balance to your household. Brothers, be on time. Keep your word. Do what you said you're going to do. Be patient. Be patient. If your word has failed and it hasn't meant anything, be patient. Start with the little things. Start to be on time. Start to do chores. Be where you say you're going to be. You get what I'm saying? And it's going to bless your life tremendously. You know, it's going to bless your life tremendously, and it's going to bless her life, and everything's going to go a lot better because your word means something, and everyone around you is going to appreciate it. You know, everyone around you is going to appreciate it. And it's just a short thing today I just wanted to get into, but it's just so important. This is the foundation of anything. Once you keep your word, everything else will work out and it will fall into place. But if your word means nothing, nobody can trust you. Nobody will respect you. Nobody wants to be around you. As always, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong, and let all that you do be done in love. Dracon signing off.